Hi, I'm Two-Siders. Welcome back to Against the Storm. Today I will bring you 5 of my favorite cornerstones that I personally think are just really fun. These are not the best cornerstones, far from it. I will make a separate video where I will discuss the best cornerstones in the game. That is bound to be a decisive video, so subscribe for that in the future. Press the like button if you'd like to see more Against the Storm content, and thank you so much for watching. The first cornerstone is the secret ingredient cornerstones. We actually got one. The OG Sahilda's secret cookbook. But of course there is also Zorg's secret ingredient. Now, young Two-Siders a couple months ago when I first started playing thought this was the shit. I mean, producing technically double food. The idea behind these secret ingredient cornerstones is that you create food, for instance, pie from flour and, for instance, in this case, meat, and then you get a couple jerkies back. It doesn't even make sense because most of the times when you're creating pie, you're not going to use meat. You're going to use like berries or something, but you're still going to get jerkies back with this cornerstone. And I think it makes even less sense with Zorg's secret ingredient because you're making pickled goods and yet you're getting skewers. You cannot even create, meat pickled goods, even though skewers require meat, though I guess it could be mushrooms. But either way, young Two-Siders thought this was the shit because back when you are first playing, you don't really know how to reproduce meat. You don't really know how to use the wrench. To be fair, this is the only way to reproduce meat and eggs. So getting extra jerkies is awesome. It might not double food production, but when you have races such as harpies or lizards that just really like the jerky, Sahilda's secret ingredient, though even Zorg's secret ingredient, with all these races that can eat pickled goods. Right now, as of the making this video, there are 3 races that can eat pickled goods. It's just really good. And then you get skewers as a reward. And most of these races that like pickled goods, lizards and foxes, like both pickled goods and skewers. So it's a win-win. The second pick for this video is no surprise, the surprise child. We had a video recently, go check it out if you haven't already, though it's not a good settlement that demonstrates this epic cornerstone. But if you have something like, in this case, a wrench, you can produce a bunch of eggs and you're just gonna get lizards back. I really like the flavor of this cornerstone because yes, it confirms that even in this universe, lizard men are reproducing through eggs. And it's just really funny. It's just a funny mental image to keep creating eggs through a wrench or just going out into a glade, and finding a bunch of eggs. And one of the eggs you find is a lizard egg. That's kind of freaky. This is one of those cornerstones that is not really good and it actually can somehow, I guess, kill you. Because if you get too many eggs and too many lizards, you cannot support the settlement anymore. But still, this is probably my favorite cornerstone in terms of flavor. And not that kind of flavor, you freaky guy. Future Two-Siders here. Number 3, I picked a really boring perk that you'll definitely not love. So instead, I forgot by one of my most favorite perks, which is insect traps. Insect traps produces 1 insect for every 2 mushroom produce, which is insane. I mean, you're increasing food production on mushrooms by 50%. And insect is one of the only non-reproducible materials or food sources in the entire game. Getting that from mushrooms is already insane, but also, mushrooms is one of those resources that you can produce in large quantities because of Fungal Guide. Fungal Guide is not part of this video because it's just absolutely bonkersly overpowered and should be nerfed. So it's not a weird perk, it's just a good perk. But combining insect traps with Fungal Guide, even if you already have like 4,000 mushrooms, you're just going to produce mushrooms just for the insects, for the skewers and the other stuff to produce. So insect traps is something that I almost always pick up if I see at a trader. The fourth cornerstone on the list is Hauling Cart. So there are two flavors of this cornerstone. Either you can just get these two rainpug hauling carts from the get-go to your main warehouse, or you can get hauling cart. This is the one I prefer because it gives you one hauling cart to each of your warehouses, so the main one and any small ones you make. And most of the times in any given settlement, you're gonna have at least 3 warehouses, the main one and 2 small ones. You're gonna have a warehouse at your farm, you're gonna have another one in another hub, perhaps even more. So even though the dual carriage system is probably better from the early game, hauling cart gets, you know, exponentially better as time goes on. And I'm not sure what the right word is, but I just really like the infrastructure part of the game where, you know, you create new hubs where you need them, put down a warehouse there, assign some haulers. The only unfortunate thing is the perks that increase hauling speed apparently don't actually buff the hauling carts, the little robots. Before we talk about the final cornerstone for this video, there were some runner-ups that I decided to take out because either they are actually, like, you know, really good, and whereas the flavor of this video is more about like fun and bad. But let's talk about them. So one of them was alarm bells. I find it really fun that you gonna get corruption anyways, especially in higher levels. Well, at least from veteran level when you unlock corruption, and it just gives you higher chance of double yields, and you can use these new mechanics to lock certain buildings. So this disallows your blight fighters from removing desists. Flame amulet is another one I like. Pretty much halves the hostility that you get from woodcutters. Like right now at this difficulty level, they increase hostility by 24, and this would only mean that they increase it by 12. This number changes if you are playing on lower difficulty levels. It's just really good, to be honest. Like you can get double the amount of woodcutters. That's just awesome. It's not super fun, it's actually really boring, just a straight number decrease. And I like the flavor of Hidden from the Queen, because no impatience generation when villagers leave, but starting from a certain year, it's much faster. It's kind of niche, but it's not our final pick for the video. The final pick is actually a really good perk, is Cannibalism. So every time a villager leaves or dies, the flavor is that you eat them and you gain 40 meat. But Cannibalism is actually a good perk, right? Because you want to get perks that help you win if you are losing. There are perks that help you win more and snowball into win if you're already winning, but they don't really help you if you're in a pickle. But Cannibalism absolutely does. When you're doing badly, villagers are leaving, you're gonna get 40 meat, and 40 meat is insane. Like, normally you would have to open up glades to get 20 to 40 of any given materials like reed or clay, or you just get a couple of tools. But 40 meat is even more insane, because normally meat is something that you cannot reproduce. It's not as easy to reproduce as just a normal farm. You have to have a ranch to reproduce meat. So honestly, even if you have like lizards, harpies, you don't find ranch, Cannibalism can help you out a great deal. Like if you have a smokehouse and just one single villager leaves, you can get 100 jerkies from that 40 meat. It actually becomes good to send away a couple of your villagers throughout the storm. If you don't have meat, you have harpies and lizards and smokehouse and Cannibalism. So that's it, 5 of my favorite perks that are not really good, to be honest. Comment below your favorite perk. Like the video if you did, subscribe for more Against the Storm content, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye. Maybe you'd like to check out this Against the Storm video next.